What shall we talk about together? What would you like to talk over this morning?
Can we talk about the attention?
Which one?
Attention and the nature of perception.
Attention and?
Perception.
Perception. Anything else?
So we were going to continue to look at insight. Last time, we were going to continue to look at insight.
Oh, what is insight?
Insight.
Attention, perception, insight. What else?
It's about energy.
About energy. By Joe. Anything else? Perception, insight, energy. Yes? Shall we talk about all that insight? What is insight and so on? Shall we? Are you interested in it? Seriously, or just to pass the time? What is attention? What do you think is the difference between concentration, awareness, and attention? What do you think is the difference between those three? To concentrate on something. What takes place when you concentrate? Aren't you bringing all your energy focused on a particular page or a mathematics, history, whatever it is, bringing all your energy and focused on a particular subject, right? Would you call that concentration?
Yeah, the word implies it. Center.
Yes, center, concentrate. Yes, so bringing all the energy to center upon something.
It also
right?
implies effort.
Yes, that what is implied? Effort. And also what is implied more?
Also cutting everything else out.
Huh?
Cutting out everything else.
Cutting out everything else. That is, you're trying to concentrate, to center your attention on a particular subject and resist the other thoughts interfering upon that which you are centered, right? So there is an effort when you concentrate to push aside every other thought except the one thought centered upon a particular subject, right? We call that attention, awareness, concentration, wouldn't you? You'd call that concentration, wouldn't you? Right? You're sure? Then, what's the difference between that and awareness? To be aware. The other day, when we were talking together with the students, the other day we said, you asked a question, what is it to be sensitive? In awareness, is there not implied a great deal of sensitivity? Examine it, let's look into it. Please don't accept anything I say, right? But let's talk it over together, let's see all the implications in it. That is, we understand now what it means to concentrate, to center all your energy and focused on a particular subject, right? Then, what do we mean by aware, to be aware? I am aware that you are sitting on the floor. I'm not concentrating, right? I'm aware, I watch. I perceive that you have got a red shirt or blue shirt, so on, so on. I perceive. I am aware of the shape of the hall, the roof, what kind of roof it is, and so on, the curtains, the sunlight, all that. Now, in that awareness, is there any choice? You understand what I mean? In that awareness, I look at that red shirt and say, I don't like that shirt, I prefer pink shirt. I don't like that particular kind of dress, but I prefer something else, right? In that process, what takes place?
In awareness.
In awareness, what takes place? When I say I like that shirt and I don't like that shirt, I like the roof, I don't like that window, and so on.
You're comparing.
That's making judgments.
Or
That's making judgments.
judgment. On what is that judgment based on?
My tastes, my experience and my taste.
Your like and dislike. That means go still further into it. Go on. Isn't there implied in that choice? I choose the red shirt, I don't like the blue shirt. There is choice in there.
Yeah.
So, as long as there is choice in awareness, is there awareness? You understand my question? To be aware implies to be sensitive to everything, doesn't it? To the tree outside, the sunlight on the green lawn, and the yellowing leaves of autumn, the clouds, the beauty of the earth, and coming from the outside, to be aware of the roof, of the walls, of the curtains, how you are sitting. Right? But if there is choice in that, I'm not totally aware. I'm only choosing that particular thing. You get it? Right? Then, as we understood concentration, awareness, then what is attention? To attend. Go on.
Wouldn't it be giving, directing your energy towards something that you're interested in, without resisting other things? You're just interested in that.
Look, we said, didn't we, that when there is concentration, there is a centering of energy upon something. There is a center from which you are concentrating, you are giving your energy. In awareness, if there is any choice, it is still part of that center choosing. Right? I want to, right? And in attention, is there any center, is there any concentration at all? There's only attending. I want to see. That is, I want to learn the art of listening. The art of listening. That is, we said the other day too, that art implies putting everything in its right place. That's the meaning of that word. Now, to listen, not to your prejudices, not to your conclusions, what you think, what you don't think, but to listen entirely, completely what the other fellow is saying. That is attention, isn't it? Where there is no choice, there is no center from which you are forcing yourself to look. Here there is no center or choice, you are completely attentive with all your ears, eyes, nerves, completely sensitive to everything. That is not only sensitive to what is happening outside, politically, economically, socially, so-called religiously, but also to be attentive to what is happening inside. Psychologically, to conscious of the thoughts, the feelings, the prejudices, the fears, the conclusions, all that. To see the whole of that is to be attentive. Would that be right? Mr. Joe, what do you say to that? So, let's go further back. Go back. You're in a class, you're trying to concentrate on what the teacher is trying to tell you, and you're not paying complete attention because you're looking out of the window. You're looking out of the window. And you force yourself not to look out of the window and come back to the book. Right? Haven't you noticed this?
That's
Good.
concentration, isn't it?
At last there is something. Huh?
But that's concentration.
Wait, I'm coming to that. Now, so in that there is conflict, isn't there? You want to look out of the window, and at the same time you want to look at the book. So there is conflict. So, attention implies non-conflict, right? That is, when you are looking out of the window, look out of the window, complete. See the movement of the leaves, the sky, the blue, the clouds, the sunlight. Be completely attentive to that. And then come back to the book. So one learns the art of attention, not by forcing, not by practicing, not by compelling, but giving your attention to what you are. If you want to look at somebody's face, look completely. So that there is no battle going on inside you. You understand it? Can you do it?
It seems to me that people pay attention when they are interested or when there is a motive.
Yes. So you pay attention, he points out, that only when you are interested. Right? Do you? Do you pay attention when you are interested? Do you? You go into careful, don't agree. You are interested in guitar, playing guitar. Do you give complete attention to it? The whole implication is whether you really want to play guitar, or is it an escape? You follow? Or is it just a passing interest? Or is it that you're competing with whoever the latest guru in guitar is? If you are completely interested, there is no comparison. Right? So you are completely aware, attentive to what you are doing. Right? Are you doing this now? When you listen to what the speaker is saying, are you listening completely? Or you're looking at somebody else, or your thoughts are going off in some direction. You follow? Are you listening with complete attention to what is being said? In that attention, there's no conflict, right? You're listening. Right? Right. So, that's the point. So, in attention, when there is attention, the implication of that is that the mind, the brain, is not directing, moving in a particular direction. I wonder if you see this. You know, when there is attention, is there any motive? The meaning of that motive is, the meaning of the word motive implies a cause from which there is a movement.
Yes, that would be a center.
Huh?
That would be a center.
No, listen first. Don't do it, not verbalize it. The meaning of the word motive means a movement which has a cause. From a cause, move. Is this too difficult? Huh? No. So, find out if there is, when there is attention, is there a motive? Is there a cause which makes you attend? If there is a cause, it's not attentive. A cause implies a direction. Right? I wonder if do you see all this? So, as we said, what is insight? Insight is that state of mind which is completely attentive and therefore no motive, and such a mind which is quiet has an insight into something. Insight into what is being said, whether it's true or false, have an insight into something. You get it something? No, you haven't got it. Is this somewhat clear? No. You all look rather bit dazed. Well, let's go into it.
If there is no motive, what would inspire you to give all of your attention to something?
What would make you look? What would make you give all your attention?
Completely with all of your attention.
Just look. Find out. Find out for yourself. We said if there is any motive, motive implies a movement which has a cause. A cause which is, I want to do something, from that motive move. Which is, there is a center which says, I must go in that direction because it's most pleasant or it's most agreeable. Or I don't want to go in that direction because it is not profitable. I might be punished, there might be fear. Right? So, when there is a cause, there is a direction. Now, is there in attention a cause? Which means a motive to be attentive. The motive might be because I'll get something from this attention. Right? I might profit from it. I will avoid pain. I will avoid this or that. Now, when there is a cause of such for attention, is it attention? I'm asking you. I'm not saying yes or no. I'm asking you to investigate, to find out if there is, when you are attentive, when there is a cause, is there attention? Maybe a little bit too difficult, right? You also ask, what does it mean to have insight? Now, what does it mean to have an insight into the nature of attention? Right? Right? What is to have an insight into the structure and nature of attention? We said there is no attention when there is concentration. Right? That's fairly simple, isn't it? Because there I'm resisting every other thought except the one thought. But thought wanders off, I try to pull it back and try to concentrate. So there's constant effort, constant movement from this to that, and from that to pull back. Right? This is simple. Right? Now, in attention, when there is attention, is there such movement? And attention implies that you are paying attention with all your being, with all your energy, with everything that you have, attending to something. Now wait a minute. When there is great danger, don't you attend? Huh? Don't you? What is implied in that? Look at it carefully. Great danger. A car coming towards you at full speed. And what takes place there? Or when you see something terribly dangerous, what takes place there? Go on. I'm doing all the talking. You go on, investigate together. What takes place?
You act.
Huh?
You act.
You react. What is your reaction?
Well, it's usually a good action in this.
Just the good or bad, it doesn't matter. We're not talking the good action or bad action. What is the reaction when you see something tremendously dangerous? It must have happened to all of you. Huh? Some danger, some kind of danger. At that moment, aren't you paying tremendous attention? Huh?
The reaction is not a process of thinking. It's very quick.
Very quick. Well, I'm talking of that moment which is very rapid. What takes place? There is a cause, isn't there? To save yourself, self-protective movement, which is quite natural, isn't it?
Yes.
Otherwise you're destroyed. Right? So there is the reaction of self-protectiveness when there is tremendous danger. Which is in that danger, the whole response of your brain is to walk away from it, move away from it. Now, if there is no danger, if there is no direction, danger is a form of direction, right? I wonder. Is there attention at all without a cause? It's too difficult. And when there is attention without cause, the mind is extraordinarily alive, and then only there is an insight into something. As we were saying the other day, science means pure observation. Not only into matter, into all things scientists are doing, but also an observation into oneself. Pure observing, the purity of observation of oneself. Right? You understand? I wonder. Can you do it? To observe, just a minute, sir, to observe without any distortion, to see what you are. Why you think this, what reason you pursue a certain thing, to be attentive, to be aware, or to observe with clarity and purity of what is going on inwardly, as you observe what's going on outwardly. When you observe outwardly the tree and all the rest of it, if you don't like it, that's a motive, isn't it? You've already decided, move away from it. Right? Can you observe without any distortion? Not only out there, but also what is going on inside, without any like and dislike, without wanting something, frightened, just to observe. Can you do it? Will you do it? Just for the fun of it, just see what takes place, what happens. Have you ever watched a cloud? Just watch it. See the light on it, the shape of it, the movement that's going on. Just to observe it without any, just watch. Can you do it? You can, can't you? Now, can you do the same thing? Watch yourself without any movement. Any movement, that is any form of distortion, like and dislike. Say, I don't like what I have. Can you observe that way? You can the microphone, can't you? Because it's a microphone, it's very easy. You can't call it a giraffe or anything, right? So, in the same way, to look at yourself. Now, when you observe yourself with complete purity, I'm using the word purity without any coloring, any distortion, any form of twisting what you see. And in that observation, there is an insight of totally of what you are. Will you do it? Because it's another form of education, isn't it, really? We are educated out in facts, in theories, in speculations, and all the rest of it. Mathematics, history, and so on. We never educate ourselves by observing ourselves. Will you do it? Because if you do it, your mind becomes extraordinarily clear. Because then you are not caught in any illusion. You move from fact to fact. To observe when you are angry. You can observe anger arising, can't you? Can you? Obvious. Right? You can observe when you are the arising of greed. You can observe somebody calling you a fool and getting hurt. You can observe that. The movement. Now, can you observe? It may be a little bit difficult. Can you observe thought arising? Remember we talked about it the other day. We said all registration is the basis of thinking. I register, the brain registers an incident, and from that memory of that incident, thought arises. Right? The incident is that you have said something to me which is not pleasant, which is rather hurting. So, the brain registers the hurt, and from that, thought arises. You can observe this very simply. It's not complicated. Right? So you know for yourself the origin or the beginning of thought. Do you? Look, your brain is the result of thousands and thousands of years as a human being, coming from the animal or whatever you like, from the beginning of time. There, human beings for centuries have registered, right? They have said, I'm a Muslim. The brain has registered what it has been told, that you are a Hindu, or a Christian, or a British, or a Frenchman, right? It has been registered. And from that, there is the assertion that I am a British, right? Or I am an Arab, and so on and on. So, from this conditioning, which is the form of registration, arises all the reaction of thought. Got it? Don't accept it, investigate it, find out for yourself if what is being said is false or true. Some of you live in America or Indonesia or in Europe, far east or far west. Not in California, but far west, in the sense America. The Americans are conditioned, the Europeans, including the British, are conditioned, the Indians are conditioned. That is, the centuries and centuries of propaganda, of repetition, of superstition, of belief, and so on, that has been registered, conditioned in the mind, the brain, right? Haven't you noticed this? Huh? From that you say, I'm an American, or I'm a Hindu, or I'm this, or I'm that. Right? So, thinking begins when there is registration. Now, there must be registration, as we said, in certain things. If I want to drive a car, I must learn how to drive it. The brain must register. And then after a while it becomes automatic, but it has registered. If I want to speak a particular language, I must learn the words, registration, and so on, so on, so on. And from that, so. Now, is it possible, just listen to this, is it possible not to register any psychological facts? You understand? I must register when I am learning how to drive a car. Why should I register? Why should there be registration when you call me a fool, which hurts me? Why should I register? Why should the brain register when you call me a fool? Go on, find out. I have an image about myself, right? I think I'm a very great man, or some silly kind of thing I think I am. I have built an image about myself. My parents have helped me to build the image. The school has helped me to build the image. University, society, girlfriend or the boyfriend. There has been a building of image. Haven't you noticed this? Good. That image gets hurt, doesn't it? Because you are that image. You are not separate from that image. Right? So, not to be hurt implies no image. Right? Can you live a life from now on till you die, which I hope will be a very long time, not to have any kind of psychological image at all? Can you? Can you do it? To find out implies to be attentive at the moment when somebody calls you a fool, or when somebody says, what a marvelous person you are, which is the same thing. Not to register implies total attention at that moment.
So, Krishnamurti, when someone calls me a fool or they flatter me, and I notice that I'm happy or sad, is that attention?
No, sir. You've said two different things. When somebody calls you a fool, or not you, but me, somebody calls me a fool or flatters me, the image which I have built about myself, and I am that image, I am not different from that image, that image gets hurt. Or that image feels flattered and says, what more? So, when you are flattering me or calling me a fool, to be totally attentive at that moment, then there is no registration. You got it? Will you do it? Not here, not just verbally agree, but all your life, all while you are here at Brockwood for the next 2 or 3 years or 5 years, to not to get hurt. It's the most marvelous thing if you can do it. Never to be hurt by anybody, which means not to have a single image about yourself.
So does it not imply when you say to be without, to not be without an image implies that you are different from the image, doesn't it?
No. You know how images are formed? Don't you know? Go on, investigate it. Find out how. You have an image about yourself, haven't you? Now, how is it formed? Who has formed it? Go on. You are a Brahmin from India. Who has... By what right do you call yourself a Brahmin? Why? Go on, find out. Because your mother, your father, your grandfather, your generations and generations said, we are Brahmins. Right? And that propaganda, that assertion that Brahmins do this and don't do that and this and follow, all that has been registered in the brain. Brain has registered it. Right? And then, having registered it, when I ask you what you are, you say, the reaction is, I'm a Brahmin. Right? You see how the image is made. Do you? Oh, come on, I've explained it. You have an image of yourself as a Christian, haven't you? Huh? No? That your parents say nonsense and brush that aside. But some of you may, I don't know, living in a world that says we are Christians or Catholics or Protestants. And there is an image of what a Catholic should be, which is he believes in the Savior, the only Savior, which is Jesus Christ. There is Virgin Mary. There are all the rituals, all the dogmas, all the circus that goes on around that. Huh? That has been, for 2,000 years, been registered. The brain has been imprinted on that, right? Brain, all that has been imprinted on the brain. So you have an image, the brain has an image that you are a Catholic. That's simple, no? Now, can you wipe away all that image? Can the image disappear completely? Because see the danger of having images. The danger. See what's happening. The Arab has an image, and the Israelis have an image, right? So they are at battle with each other. The Muslim and the Hindu, the communist, socialist, and the capitalist, and so on. Each group, each individual of that group has an image. So they're always in conflict with each other. Right? Do you see this? War is the result of these images. No? One of the reasons of war. There are other reasons, but one reason is good enough to discuss with. So, can you be free of your image? As a Hindu, Buddhist, Catholic, Jew, Arab, Indonesian, whatever it is. Why carry that image? You understand my question? It's such a burden, it's a bore. If you have an image, you're going to be hurt. And when you are hurt, you build a wall around yourself and you isolate yourself and you are frightened to go out of that because you might get hurt. Do you see this? Now, are you listening with complete attention? Listen carefully what I'm going to tell you in a minute. Are you listening completely with attention to what we have said about image? If you have, you are not forming an image that says, I must get rid of the image. Do you understand what I said? Huh? No. Oof. I listen to what has been said about image. How the images are formed, the importance of being free from all images, because those bring about conflict between human beings. Now, if I listen to it with complete attention, there is no image. Attention wipes away the image. Right? And therefore you don't form another image. I wonder if I'm... Do you get this, some of you? Now, have you listened with complete attention so that you have no image? Go on. Or you have some images which are rather pleasurable. Some images which say, I rather like that image about myself. Somebody calls me a great man, and I like that image. So I keep to that image. And somebody comes along and says, you're not so great as you think you are. I'm hurt because I've got the image. So can you pay attention and see the whole nature of building images? It's part of your education, isn't it? Can you do it? Not say, well, I'm an awfully clever man. I'm an awfully clever chap. Some of you think that already. Better, superior to somebody else. That's an image about yourself. And somebody comes and says, don't be silly. You're not as clever as you think you are. So you shrink. You get the point? Right? We've talked about insight. What do we mean by attention? What else was there? Right question?
Energy. Somebody mentioned energy. Energy.
Energy. Now, when you are attending, isn't there, all your energy is there. When you are not paying attention, the energy is dissipated or divided or broken down. Do you notice that? So, it's really a very complicated question, this energy business. Registration, as we said, takes energy, doesn't it? The Nagra, that machine now, is registering what we are talking about. To register, that requires energy, electric form of energy. Now, when you don't register, you get the point? I register, there must be registration when there is learning how to drive a car. But when there is no building of images, which requires energy, and if there is no building images, what happens to that energy? This is a little too much. You see, while you are very young, as you are, you have plenty of energy in every direction, plenty of energy. You want to go out to walk, play games, do all kinds of things, right? Things which are orderly or disorderly for yourself, not about outside disorderly, that also implies. When you don't know how to, when there is no knowledge or information how to, the way that energy should be expressed, that energy becomes very mischievous or destructive or merely pleasurable, sexual and so on, so on. Do you see this? I wonder. You see what the implication of all this? Or have I got to go into all the details of it?
You're suggesting that we channel our energy into these various things.
Who is there to right? Say, I'll use my energy in that direction. There's a center, isn't there? Yeah. There's a direction. The direction, movement of the direction has a cause. The cause may be, I like that. Therefore, I put all my energy in that direction. What happens when you do that? Look at it carefully, watch it. You have plenty of energy. You're young, full of, all the glands are working powerfully, and so on, so on, so on. Now you've got plenty of energy, and you say, I'll give all my energy to guitar, or all my energy to sex, or all my energy playing, doing something or other. What happens? When you give all your energy in a particular direction, whether pleasurable or the avoidance of pain, same thing. Go on, inquire. For God's sake, don't sit. Use your brains to find out what happens.
There's no energy for something else.
No, I understand that. When you give, when you are play, all your energy is being given to playing a violin, and become first class at it. Great skill, because you've given all your energy. What happens? Need I tell you that? Can't you find out?
Something becomes out of place.
Huh?
Whatever you're giving all your energy to becomes out of place.
Comes out?
Out of place.
How to play? You've
No,
given
out of place.
Out of place.
out of place, which means what?
Distortion.
But what? Carefully out of place. Find out what it means. Don't just offer your opinion. Find out what she said, what is implied in that. It's out of place. What does it mean?
Proportion.
Huh?
The proportion of the.
Which means, go on, which means what?
Disorder.
Huh?
A disorder, an imbalance.
Imbalance, isn't it?
You have no energy left for anything else.
Yes, it's an imbalance. If I give all my energy to one thing, huh, I'm not balanced all round. Right? Then what happens when I'm not harmonious? Of course, I'm using the harmonious already implied. What happens when when I'm only cultivating one direction of energy? I'm this imbalance, obviously, right? There is no balance. Therefore, what takes place when there's no balance, when there's no harmony? I'm very good at violin. I'm as stupid elsewhere. Stupid in my relations to my wife, my children, or the society. So, what takes place when there is imbalance?
Not aware of other things.
Yeah, what you are not sensitive. What go further into it? What happens? I bring conflict, don't I, in myself, in others? No?
When you become, for example, with the violin, you will become obsessed with the violin.
That's it.
You have to fulfill other functions, and then you can't get on with anyone else. All you want to do is play the
So
violin.
what happens? So there is
Nothing works anymore.
yes. So where there is imbalance, there must be conflict, right? Right. So energy then is spent in continuing the conflict, or trying to find out how to avoid conflict, or how to escape from all this. Because I'm in balance, I'm neurotic in essence. You understand? When a person gives all his energy to in one direction, obviously it's a neurotic way of living. So go from that. Is it possible to have a harmonious life in which there is no imbalance, but every action complete in itself? You understand? Oh, this is too difficult.
What is it that decides how much energy is proper to give you something? Supposing you are a violinist, it takes tremendous energy and time if you want to be good at it. But where is the dividing line between that necessary application and a neurotic?
I understand that. Where do you draw the line? Where do you say, I'll give my energy to this completely, or I will give partial energy to this, and partial energy to that, and so on. If you give partial energy to play the violin, you'll never be, it's finished. You can't be a first-class violinist. So, what will you do? Go on, inquire, find out.
Wouldn't attend attention then come into that?
Huh?
Attention what kind of insight into that? To understand how the energies have to be balanced.
Look, you want to be a first-class violinist, right? Suppose you do. And you naturally have to give to it a great deal of energy. And you haven't time or sufficient energy in other directions. Therefore, you live not a balanced life. And you want to live a balanced life, and yet be very good at violin. You follow? What will you do?
Yeah, there are two desires now.
Fine. What
They
are you
are
saying?
opposing.
Huh?
They are opposing. The two desires you have are opposing, and leads nowhere.
Would you ask yourself, though I want to be a very good violinist, I want to live a total life, you follow? A life that is whole. Would you ask that question? I want to be a very good violinist, but also I want to live a life that's whole, that's complete, that's not fragmented. I'm a violinist, I'm nothing else. Or this or that. You follow? I want to live a life that is whole, means healthy, sane, holy. I want to live such a life, and yet I want to play a violin, be very good at violin.
Well, if you see that, then you don't have to draw any line.
Huh?
If you see that, you don't have to draw any line. It will just happen properly.
I didn't quite hear.
If you see that into wanting a balanced life, if you really see how necessary it is, and you also want to play the violin, and if you can really see everything, you won't have to draw any line.
No. So, will you do? How do you do that? Will you do that? Or is it just a lot of words? Will you, though you want to be very good at something, see the importance and the necessity of leading a life that is harmonious, whole, complete, not fragmented? And because you see the utter importance of it, there is no fragmentation. Right? Do you see that? Do you, not verbally, but do you actually see the importance of not living a fragmentary life? Because after all, playing the violin, being good at it, is a fragmentary life. But if I have insight, I see the tremendous importance of living a life that is whole, then violin has its place. Right? Therefore, which is more important? Being good at violin or seeing the way of living harmoniously in which violin has its place. When you see that, there is no problem. You understand this?
Yeah, then there's no choice.
So, do you see it? Or you merely agree with words which I'm using? Do you see for yourself the importance, the utter, complete, total importance of living a life that is whole, not fragmented? Because all our life is fragmented, right? I'm a businessman, I am a artist, which has nothing to do with business, you follow? I'm a engineer, or I'm so on, religious man. Everything is divided, fragmented. As I'm a Hindu, you're a Christian, a Protestant, same thing. Nationally, religiously, economically, linguistically, we're all fragmented human beings. Are you aware that you are fragmented? Are you? You are? Don't, it's far you are.
Sir? I think one of the difficulties when you talked about the image is that there's still the feeling that I can have an image of myself, but even if I drop that image, there'll be a myself inside.
We said yourself is the image.
You say nothing but that.
If there is no image at all, is there the image maker? This little too much. You see, you've said something which is, it is, the image is the cause of fragmentation. Right? You have an image about yourself, and if I have an image about myself, then we're, right? So the cause of fragmentation is the image making. I see some great violinist playing, and I say, by Jove, I like to do that because, first of all, I have a little talent about it. It gets a lot of money and the applause of the public. You follow? The vanity, all that's involved, and I like that. That's my image. I am that image. So to have no image implies living a total life, a life that's completely harmonious, not fragmented. Can you do this while you are here, Brockwood? Find out. Go into it. See how important it is not to have an image. You won't get hurt. You know, the whole business of it. Then you are a free human being. And it's a marvelous state, because in that there is tremendous clarity. Out of clarity comes compassion and skill and all the rest of it. Is that enough for this morning?
So you...
We also talked a great deal about meditation, didn't we, the other day? Perhaps we can have one more meeting with the students before I go away. So I'm just beginning that thing which you started the other day about meditation. Remember, we pointed out various forms of historical process of meditation and so on, so on. See, to understand the whole image making and see all the implications of it is a form of meditation, isn't it? Huh? No? Because I'm meditating about something. I begin meditating about something, about the making of images. I go into it, I think about it, I watch it, and I see the implications and the destructive nature of images. And to have an insight into it, the mind must be free from all prejudices, right? So that's the beginning of meditation. To ponder over something. And as you go into it more and more, there is not meditation about something, but a state of mind which is in meditation. It's very difficult, I won't go into it.
So when you say to meditate about image making and things, isn't that a direction?
No, I'm watching. There is an meditation is ponder over, think, observe. Observe how you form an image. How you cling to certain images and avoid other images. To observe that. That's a form of meditation.
But isn't there choice involved that I'll observe this and not
No,
something
no,
else?
I observe. Wait. I observe how the images are being made. From that, I may discover that where there is image, there is fear. And I may look at fear. Why there is fear? What is fear? What is the root of fear? To find that out, I mustn't escape from it. There must be no escape, there must be no suppression, no kind of saying, I'm justified to have fear. You follow? You just observe. That's form of meditation. And to observe very clearly, without distortion, observe purely, the mind must be not chattering, must be attentive in observation. Can you do all this, poor chaps? It's really not very complicated. Complication arises when you are trying to convey something which you haven't heard before. Then you are trying to understand something what the other fellow is saying. When you are not here to understand what the other fellow is saying, but to understand what, through the words the other fellow is using, to observe yourself. So the other person doesn't become an authority. You just observe. I think that's enough, don't you? Right.